Hey, it's Pam from Benmcfuzzylugs, and it's Thursday, so it's another needle felting tutorial. Every Thursday I make tutorials just like these, so if it's something you're interested in, please don't forget, come back every Thursday, give us a wee subscribe and a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. So now, today I want to show you how I make my tiny feet. I'm making it a bit larger today so you can get a look, but these can go anywhere down to 1 or 2 centimeters if you're really careful. They do get a bit fiddly the smaller you go. So all I'm doing here to start out with, I have a carded bats that I've got. This is actually an old wool that I've had for ages in a blue, just so you can see it better, but you wouldn't tend to use blue, obviously. And I've just made a long rectangle shape, and I'm felting that all over till it's smooth. Not wanting it too flat, it's a kind of long pillowy rectangle, and I'm making sure as I felt that the top and the bottom are slightly rounded, because your toes and your heels, that area is slightly rounded, and just making sure it doesn't go too flat, and just firming it up and so it's nice and smooth, but not so it's rock hard, because we've got a whole lot of shaping to do. If you haven't already, have a wee look at my needle felting hands tutorial. This is fairly similar to this, just a few little different steps, but both are really good projects just to help you improve your sculpting skills. So really this is only about 5 or so minutes worth of felting to smooth this up, and then once you're happy that it's holding its shape and you've got a good start on felting it up, then we're going to start sculpting it. And basically when I'm looking at this after I've felted it for a wee bit, in my mind's eye I can start to see the shape of the foot, which ends is going to be the heel. So now I'm just felting the line along the crease at the bottom of the toes. So I've just looked at it and decided what would be the best place to stick that, and just felting along just a little way down from the top. Backwards and forwards creates a dent into the piece. This helps the toes bend as well, but it just shows where they are. And then for the big toe, I'm going straight up and down, just a good more than a quarter of the way across. So the big toe has the most amount of space for all the toes, and then popping in lines for the other 4 toes. So just a few lines, just straight up and down, just like the big toe, and just keep them felting, and you get a nice solid line right the way through, and that immediately begins to separate them out and make them look a little bit like toes. So now all you're doing is just felting to firm this up. And the second part of the shaping, and this is practically all there is to it, I'm just working on the arch of the foot. So it's just down from the big toe, leaving the area that's going to be the pad of the foot, and I'm just working in a little dent. As you can see, I hold the needle perpendicular to what I want the shape of it to be, so felting in a smooth curve on the inside of the foot. And then basically that's it on shaping the foot. All you want to do after this is felt. Just be looking at feet, squishing it a little between your thumbs if you want to get something thinner, and thinking in the direction of your needle. As I say in all my videos, you're wanting to felt perpendicular to where you want the surface to be. So you're either moving the direction of the needle or moving the orientation of the piece so that the needle goes in at the direction you want it to be. So if you're wanting a curve, you bringing your needle into a curve shape. If you haven't already, take a look at my needle felting a ball tutorial, and that goes into way more detail for that. But basically, after this is about 10 to 15 minutes of felting, you could stop at this stage. This is a very recognizable foot, but I like to go on until my pieces are fairly well felted. So just felt until you're happy with it. Keep the needle moving all over the place. Don't get stuck on one area, but make sure getting between them toes nice and well felted. And after another 5 minutes of felting, he's looking pretty good. So I'm just taking a piece of fleece to roll into a tube to make his leg, or the beginning of his ankle anyway. Now you could make these on a piece on an armature as well, just popping in the armature at about this stage by kind of slitting open the top of his foot. Now putting the leg on is slightly further forwards from the heel, so as you can see I've got a curve coming round the heel and into the leg, and then I'm adding a little more piece little piece more on the top of his foot to bring up a slope, so there's a little more meat further back from his toes. If you have a look at your foot, it is a little like that. You're flatter at the toes and then sloping up to the feet, and then I'm just felting all of that in place. Again, like the hands, you have your own model attached to the end of your legs, so just have a look at all the things that you see in your foot. One thing that you can add that I haven't popped here but you can do is there's a kind of, I don't know, a bone or whatever, but a little sticky out piece up in your ankle just at the side of your little toe. You can add that if you wish. Any tendons or muscles or anything that you can see, just have a look at your foot. And if this piece, if it was going to have a pointed toe, you can point your own toe and see how the different shapes in your foot and your leg work for that. It's a great thing you have your own model sitting there. And now this is just felting all over to make sure that everything's nice and smooth. If needs be, the bit of the leg that you added on, if you're seeing wee lines of the join, just add a wee fluffed up extra bit of fleece to cover the lines, but it seems to be clearing up nicely when we just felting all over the surface, making it nice and firm, and always just over the entire piece. Now you'll see on my other foot that I made beforehand, you can cut the toes to separate them like we did with the fingers. And then you have to get in between every toe and felt away the cut edge that you've made. And actually doing that on the toes, I don't find that it brings any extra detail. There's no benefit to doing it. So I just felt like crazy all over the foot until it's at a firmness that I want. Okay, so as you've hopefully noticed, there's a slight difference to my videos today. No ugly mug shot from me at the start, and I'd just like to know if you could let me know in the comments if you prefer this just straight into the video or if you like a wee bit of me chatting at the beginning. Either way, I'm happy to do either. I just wanted to try something different here. And also let me know in the comments just if there's any tutorials, if there's anything that you're struggling with and you'd like me to make. I've got a whole bunch of tutorials coming up, but I'd love to hear from you guys as well because I'm here to help if I can. So just let me know in the comments below, what is it you struggle with? Are there any little features that you would like a little more in-depth, in detail of how I make them? Or if you make feet, do you do them in a different way? I have in the past made the main part of the foot and then added on toes individually in little balls, which also works but is kind of fiddly. I just found this way a little bit better. I would also work on making the toes quite a bit narrower, felt them in a little bit further, because as you can see from the top of the foot, it's looking a little bit splay footed in this piece, but this was just a demonstration for you guys. So I would just spend a bit more time felting the toes and squishing them in a little bit because, well, my feet don't look quite like that, but you might want them to. And also think of the focus of what's going to be seen most in your foot. So spending a lot of time on the underside of the foot, if you're doing a character that's going to be sitting with his feet up, I think that would be kind of cute, and they're the feature of the foot. I made a kind of troll character for my sister many years ago, and that was one of the things I was doing. He was sitting with his feet up, and that just looked fantastic. But if the character's going to be walking and no one's going to see the foot, then perhaps you don't need to spend so much time getting the shape quite right for that. You would want to spend more time on the top of the foot. But anyway, I hope this tutorial is being useful for you. If you do make some feet, let me see. And yeah, I hope it turns out for you. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and come back every Thursday and enjoy your felting. Thank you so much.